I know we have a lot to cover. A lot has happened since the last time we met. Seems like it's been a while. Glenn's been ill. I think I'll let Michelle go because she probably has more updated information. I'm not sure what day it was. Max called me maybe Friday or something.
Right.
Glenn had called me and left me a message, and then I called back, talked to his sister, but I think you've talked.
I talked to Jackie, and I haven't heard back from his daughter yet, but he'd fallen and had a brain bleed, and they postponed surgery. They were able to do surgery, but he's still in ICU, the last I heard. I'm not really sure how he's
Okay.
doing. I'm waiting to hear
He's
back.
in Mount Vernon. He's in Mount Vernon.
Okay,
and
so I did not.
for
know that.
rehab. He's gonna be
Oh.
there for at least 2 weeks.
Great.
The message he left me was kind of gargled and it was hard to understand.
Mm,
So when I called him back, I think it was his sister.
Okay.
Yeah,
Kathy
But
was his
they were,
wife, yeah.
they just said he's gonna be there for at least 2 weeks before he can even think about coming home.
Okay,
So I guess there's positive progress.
much better than I heard.
Yeah.
Yes, great.
So that's the update on him. So you can maybe mention him tonight. On the invocation, I appreciate it. Thanks, Mike. We have a lot to cover. Number one on the agenda for an ordinance, have a resident petitioning council for an exemption to 505.06. It's the keeping of farm animals. My opinion is we turn one person down, one family down. If we start doing this, my recommendation, if they're, I got an email, I think Kaylee and I got an email about how nice of pets and everything else they are, and they have names. I understand all that. But, if we start allowing one or two, then I'll start allowing a bunch of them. My recommendation, I think what I'll do, or Kaylee can, on an email, and it's up to you 5 members that are here, that they probably need to get, if they want them therapy chickens, then they should probably license them that way.
I don't think chickens can be licensed, can they?
No. There we go. So they have to get rid of them. So Kaylee, you and I can talk about who's going to email them. Okay.
She told me she had somebody that, she has a relative that's like Kimball.
Okay.
What she told me was she had her real estate person research it, they were allowed to be here. I said, well, that's not correct. You got the orders. Well, that's not what's on the website. I said, well, that's changed what's on the website.
Well, it is on the website. If she'd have clicked the blue number, it took us right to it. Amy and I,
So
Amy did most of the
so it's
work.
been updated there.
Yeah, yep. And Max, just so you know, those are updated. The ordinances are updated twice a year.
So what you're saying is don't get legal advice from your real estate agent?
Well,
Okay,
yeah,
okay,
so,
You can go to the website, it's right on there.
okay.
yeah,
It's easy.
it is on,
It's a
they're
little-
on there. They're just not
You just have
So
to
they're
click around.
updated twice a year though?
They're updated in April,
October.
October, and they
Okay.
got updated in April. And then we were a
Okay.
little.
So they were
late
on
the
there when they
second
bought
one.
the house.
Okay.
So,
I still think, and I've brought this up before, and I've had people request that we do this. I think anytime we pass something similar to that, it's going to, whether it be the grass ordinance, the farm animal ordinance, junk ordinance, whatever, if we just put an insert in the water bill, everybody gets it. They can't say they don't know. But if we're not going to do that, then, especially if the policy manual is only going to, ordinance is only going to be updated twice a year.
Well, they're published in the newspaper too, the titles.
How
Not
many people
everybody
get
gets a
the
newspaper.
Tribune
I
anymore?
guess they're in the Beacon.
It wouldn't take any effort to run copies and plug them into the water bills. I know Dave might not want to hear that, but we put other things in there, and that way people can't, there's no excuse then.
Yeah, we use a third-party biller, but they can add that. I think it's for a double-sided, it's like $380 for every water bill, because we're already paying the posting. So it's not a huge fee. And I think single side is a little less than that, but we just got to give them a Word document and then they just add it.
well, most of the changes that we do or updated ones are just the keeping of farm animals, and then they can look it up or call City Hall.
we do
Yeah,
have
I mean,
little
people
boxes
can
that have like
always
6 or 7
ask.
lines. We can put a little notice there, but as Roger said, if you wanted a whole insert every so often of 4 or 5 items, that is doable.
Do renters get their own water bill, or do they, all of them go to owners?
We're in the process of sending them all to the property owners, but right now, a large majority of the tenants still get them. They go to the house
Oh, it goes to the house,
right
okay.
now. But we're transitioning away from that.
This thing it would eliminate people having excuses that they weren't aware of something we've done.
They're always gonna.
I
have
know,
an
but this
excuse
was-
Right.
why
We could
they
say
don't- they
it
didn't
went
know.
to you in the water bill, read it.
Right.
There's nothing we can do to help you.
So, okay.
Just
Okay, we'll talk after this. All right. 2, it's about the zoning areas. And I think this is Michelle in her area. I think she had Roger and I read having a business out of your home and how that, it's a R1 district, is that zoning area? Which property is that?
Currently, it's South Sixth Street, 745 South Sixth. It's R1 on the map.
my question on that was, it's very close to Wagner's.
Mhm.
There's a beauty shop.
That's not zoned right either.
It's not zone, the whole map needs to, I don't know how we rework it, but the whole thing. needs
I
to-
think you'd have to look at for zoning like for Wagner's, that business was there prior to zoning. So
How about
I'm sure they
the,
didn't Zone around it.
That's a beauty shop. Which
Oh,
is,
Down
on the left-hand
Right,
side.
it's in
there,
it's in a
there.
residential, yeah.
What about the notary down there? The person has a notary.
I've seen that sign in the front yard. I think in an R1, that they can run an office out of their
They
house. I
can.
believe.
As long as it, and the sign can only be one by one.
Yep.
Which that sign in very big, so.
So I think what Michelle's asking is, what does she need to do? She doesn't want any special.
When I
favors.
started my business 15 years ago, I started it in my home up here on 8th Street. And it was more verbiage than anything else. It was something that it was the way that it was worded. As long as I called it a studio, I was okay with it. But if I called it the sign shop, then it was a no-no. Now, that came from City Hall. I came and checked on that and someone looked it up for me, but it's from 15 years ago. So gonna have to look at the wording on that, what they called, what it's termed.
So Max, what,
Like say a studio, you got hair studios.
right,
But I mean, in the R1, it's called out as you cannot have classes. Which, a yoga
Mhm.
class is a class. So to me, I mean, and I wouldn't see why it'd be any issue at all with, go through the zoning process, but that's the
Right,
cleanest
we're-
thing to
right.
do.
Well, where
From
we're at,
Michelle's
there's a
standpoint.
business right next door to her, so
Yeah.
what,
Right.
I think overall, Bob, what's the best way to clean it up? And make,
Well, you could change the zoning ordinances itself and allow businesses in R1s, but then
right, then you might as well not have
you
zoning.
might as well not have zoning. Then you're talking about spot zoning, which is basically going to the planning commission and getting a variance, which.
Mhm.
To me, them and Wagner's need a variance. It's just like up there on 15th Street where the BP is, or Marathon now. That was all
Many
R1.
businesses that are operating. in
Correct.
Residential homes that should not be there. But quite frankly, the city didn't get serious on this topic for the last 4 or 5 years.
so,
But, planning commission is place to go and get that zoning for that.
So
Uh,
just
that's-
fill out the form.
Yeah, that's the
That's
cleanest
Yeah,
easy.
way.
it's
That's how I
it's the
planned to do
best
it
way
originally.
It's really not, we'll put a
Okay,
thing in the paper, they'll have a meeting and
Yeah,
okay,
and it'll be done. That's probably the best way to get it done.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
good.
Good. Yep.
Second thing, it's not on there, so I don't forget. Oh, the mayor was on vacation.
That was big news.
Yeah,
That was
well, did anybody bring that ordinance? I think we need to take a look at that for building permits. take a look
Update
at
it.
that and update it and clean that up.
No, and that's what I told people. There are things that I agree with them, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, maybe not be. I think what the community needs to know, it protects residents against fly-by-night contractors. It protects the city from future hassles with, hey, my neighbor built a garage in my yard. Hey, they put a storage shed, it's on my property. I mean, I did not post that in any way to become what it became, but apparently I got people's attention. It was from 1962, so I saw some comments, we need to elect another mayor. Well, I want to say good luck to electing a mayor that doesn't follow city ordinances. I think that's what we've been doing for the last 40 years. So
Well,
We need to update it.
we need to update it. I know the other two ordinance
Yeah.
people aren't here, and I know you're gonna be gone. So maybe,
I'll be here next meeting.
okay,
It's 1 to 10 of July.
yeah, maybe I'll,
Do you think we
I'll
could
run a
put
copy.
like a dollar amount on it? Like anything over $2,500 needs to be,
I was always under the assumption on building permits that you only needed them if you were gonna change the dimension of your house,
yeah.
or you were gonna put
no,
in.
it's, fences, the biggest thing with
Fences.
us, fences, anything that's going on a property line or needs to be set back from your neighbor's
So if I'm
property.
replacing my toilet, I shouldn't need a building permit.
Right.
I'm telling you, I'm a sinner because I replaced my own
Right.
toilet and I didn't get a permit for it.
I have a little bit of issue with even a building permit to put a new roof on. To me, that's maintenance to your house.
Right.
It's upkeep,
Yeah,
and
so I struggle with why, or putting
you wanna
siding on
re-side your house and,
Right.
That's
Well, and that's
maintaining it.
and that's our battle is we want people to improve their property. So that's the necessary evil kind of the process. And it's not something new that Coshocton does. I mean, every city around us actually has a department in charge of that, go out and if you're gonna run electrical, they inspect the electrical. And if you work and that inspector finds out you're working without a permit, they shut the job down. So I kind of, chuckle when people say I'll do whatever I want. That's fine. And when you need something from this building, we'll do it whatever we want to. So I think it needs revised. It was put on there as a reminder. It
Right.
wasn't put on there as we got you or we're out to get you or nothing at all like that, what it turned into.
I think
So-
we need to revise it as soon as possible and then send it out in the water bill instead of putting it on Facebook. So
Right.
you're not getting hammered for no
But it
reason.
brought a lot of attention to
Right.
people. I mean, at least now they know that you do need permits to do some stuff.
Well, and I'm like the mayor, you get these people come into town, they ride in vans and stuff,
Yeah.
and come in, they do this work and, and they're changing the dimensions of the house and things, and they're not even registered, so.
Well, they're
and
supposed
you
to
have-
register.
And you actually have contractors who are members of the chambers of commerce
Yeah, that work. I mean,
that work and do things right.
and it's not there's no fee that's like, I think a contractor just came and got a permit to redo a roof on a business and it was like $122. So it's not, we're not out to get anyone. We want things, it's an ease of a process, it's not about today, it's about 40 years from now when someone says, why is this on my property? For us, it's more of a control issue of let's make this easier for future generations and make sure people do things right. I know no one wants to be told what to do. But it's more about the doing something properly and with the proper people rather than just do whatever you want. And then at some point it's going to come back and get you. And that's not what we want. And that's really what that post was all about, is just to inform. And like I said, I agree with you guys and the public. It needs some work and we can sit down and work it out. And I'm sure it's
Can we
not
get a
the
copy
only
of that
one.
sent to us, emailed to us, where we can work on it?
Can you do that?
Is that on a sliding scale, how much money you're spending and how much?
Yeah,
it's
there's
gonna
certain-
cost you?
Percentage.
There's
Yeah,
a
there's-
residential price, there's a commercial price. I think it's,
I mean, is there such a thing as, say, okay, residential,
Myself.
I'm gonna do my own work, you know, can you waive even a fee?
Residential is $25 for the first 5,000.
Is that what it is?
Right,
Well,
so
that's,
it's not-
that's
And a
reasonable.
dollar for every thousand after that.
Okay, well,
So
that's
it's not- it's a
reasonable.
Very
That
nominal.
gives them a little bit of responsibility.
And I think-
That's what I wondered. I wasn't sure what the,
I think that maybe it's $100 for commercial for the first 10,000.
That's correct.
The only other thing I would keep in mind is the permits that people get, the county auditor's office. I believe they get those from your
Right,
office.
it improves the property
And if it
value.
improves the
basically.
property
Right.
value, then, Christine Sykes, county auditor, you always get that card even with your bill too. It's just another way for them to help capture that stuff within the intern. It helps us,
Right.
if somebody's property tax values increased, it comes to us too. So keep that in mind too.
I had a great example last week on Atwood. Lady moves in here from out of town, happy with her house and everything, finds out that the neighbor's garage is setting 4 feet on her property. Because really, at this point, that becomes a civil matter, so now you're gonna have to pay surveyors to come out, I get lawyers to come out, because you're gonna have to change the deeds and everything. I mean,
Right,
if you had a building permit up front, somebody shows you the lot lines and
yeah, because you put a building on,
you gotta have a setback
but you're
from,
not siding or roofing and things
Right.
like that. Like you
Right.
said,
Yeah.
You're putting a building on fences.
yeah.
Okay. All of the ordinances that are on the agenda are not going to get passed tonight. They'll just have to run their course. Resolution 622 is going to come off of the agenda.
Correct.
Okay,
Hey, I want to go back to that permit thing and just say one more thing. I saw some comments about like handicap ramps. A lot of times those fees are waived. Like we work with everyone who wants to work with us. So I saw like, oh, they're just out to get us. We're not. Like, one more time, we are not out to get you.
Tom, I know we talked about the mowing ordinance the last time.
isn't that on, in the mowing ordinance? Is that part of 1922? It
Okay,
is,
so we're good there.
yeah.
And I don't know that was done anything or gone any further with the junk ordinance. I don't know, Bob,
We can't change the days on the junk ordinance because that's by state statute.
but can we? I know we talked about junkyards or whatever you want to call those businesses.
I'm hesitant for the city to pass an ordinance that's contrary to state law. We're just asking to be sued. The state has gone out of its way to regulate junkyards, pawn shops, and the different areas contained in the revised code. And if we try to pass regulations that are stricter than what's in the state code, I know we have a home rule, but.
And that's what you said last time. Is there any way we can at least require a fence, or would that be beyond what the state?
Well, our zoning already requires fences, for different types of businesses, and certainly a junkyard would be considered as to have a fence around it.
Okay,
In fact, the Cherokee Trading, did we cite them, Jeff?
The charges for that.
Just filed charges against them for not having all those materials in an enclosed building, which our zoning ordinance requires.
I know, we talked about June 1st being a,
After
Date
June
today.
first came, I had Jeff go
okay,
cite it.
all right, Thanks.
And if that doesn't work, eventually I'm probably gonna have to file a lawsuit seeking injunction, which probably where we're headed.
But one thing that you may want to take into consideration, after us doing this, Dave was working real hard to get into that pump house, change material out. They're not going to give you access across your property to get that pump house. You're gonna have to do some reconfiguring if you're gonna work on that pump house tonight. Right now, we cite them. You don't get any cooperation to get into that. pump
Can they do not have public utility there from getting to their equipment?
That would be a Bob thing.
I searched
And won't donate.
First of all, I need to search the deed records to determine whether the city ever obtained a right of way, which I'm sure we didn't. when we built that property. Assuming we didn't, I cannot find anything in the law that gives us the right to enter their property to go through a door. I'm sure I can probably sue. And if I have to sue to get the injunction, I'll just include this part in the lawsuit to get access to that building.
I mean, if that building would go down, we're gonna have to get there to, what is that, lift station?
That's a booster station providing water to the Spittler home.
Oh, that's the Spittler booster station
Yeah.
We need on fire protection.
and fire
And
protection.
as Bob said, late last week, I got an update from Harold. He searched all his records. He found nothing.
I don't know how they could not deny us access to.
If we
It's a
need
safe
access
position.
for emergency access.
Yeah, they had.
That's where I'm at. General deal.
Yeah.
I'll do.
Yeah,
Okay.
Bob, I have, in our safe, we have tons of right of ways, so we can, start to,
If we did one, it'd be recorded with the recorder's office. and-
okay.
Harold said there was nothing in his records.
Yeah, apparently that happened. It was built at the time that the property owner owned that piece of property as well as up on the hill. And water department must just build it without thinking about needing the right.
I'm assuming actually probably Spittler built it and then just said city insurance to take over.
That's probably how that will, for a new housing development.
I've got, on safety services, number 4, Roger approached me about Acorn Lane. Roger,
Yeah, I received 2 emails regarding making Acorn Lane one-way, heading on to Cambridge Road. One family lives at the corner of Cambridge and Acorn and have small children, and they say it's dangerous because people will be coming down Acorn and people are turning off of Cambridge, go up Acorn, and they're even backing out of Acorn onto Cambridge or backing into their driveway. Talked to a couple other residents up there that don't use it a whole lot. They didn't see it as a problem, but the one family definitely sees it as a safety issue. So I don't know what Sheriff Crawford would think about that, but I don't know how much it's used. But when it becomes a safety issue, I guess I would suggest we make it one way.
I mean, it's been two-way since 1811, so I don't know, or
Those-
whenever that was developed.
Yeah,
It's been discussed.
the townhouses, yeah, I brought it up 6 months ago when I received a call, but the townhouses are probably 20 years old. I don't know how long a family with small children has lived at the corner either. So I just throw that out for you guys to ponder. I think I sent everybody the email from Fortunes that I received.
you have
A lot.
anything else?
A lot of times a sign, no one way, gets ignored too, so I'm just food for thought.
Well, I know like the one on Fifth Street, there's no parking gets ignored. We
Yeah,
just need to
true.
enforce if we make it one way, we need to enforce it. We make Fifth Street no parking from Locust to Chestnut, we need to enforce it. That's frustrating me at this point. We have ordinances that we pass and we might as well just throw them in the trash can because we don't follow up and we don't enforce it.
I was frustrated today. There was the lady that said that if you give me one handicap, I think we all agreed to that. There's 3 cars parked there.
We need to ticket them.
Just-
And there's
Well,
no
I-
reason why we're
All
not.
I need to do is call me and let me know. I mean, I'm not on Chestnut Street, I'm out and
Well,
about.
it's not just you, it's,
Oh, I
any of the other
understand.
deputies, when they leave the sheriff's department, they go up Locust or Chestnut, take a look. They're there every day. I think I sent you a picture last week.
If someone sees it, call me and I will be glad to go and write tickets. That's-
And I know the one place has a driveway and there's no reason why they can't use it. And they keep rotating if there's, a Mercedes or whatever parked out there's not, they'll put the handicap placard in. If there's a different car, they'll move it to that car. It's the only person that we gave permission to was a lady toward the end of the street. So, if we put signs up, whether it's Acorn Lane or Fifth Street or wherever, we need to enforce it. Well, we're just
Especially
wasting our time having meetings.
I think especially early on, because that's when, even if you just give them the warnings, they know that the street's being watched or corn lane or whatever.
But I mean, I have no problem getting a one-way sign up there. Cause it was brought up 5 years ago.
I think you
See
guys,
how it
I think
goes.
Max, I think you and Mark probably just need to discuss that. We don't need to make a decision tonight. But you guys can-
We can
Well,
get-
You can make a decision on your own.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, can't we give Prince's the authority to, hey, if you see a car parked down there, tow it? I mean,
He can't make that decision.
he can't make that
start
call.
doing
I think.
that, yeah.
I
But
mean,
I think that- I
we
think-
can't give him that authority to,
I think then probably the sheriff's department have to.
Yeah, I could just start out ticketing them and then if they don't pay it, then tow it. The other safety issue, I know Tom Barcroft brought this up, I think last meeting, about the area between
Oh, yeah.
the railroad tracks and I don't know what even sits there. I don't know if it's a railroad restaurant probably. And then you have Hickory Street and I witnessed this last Wednesday. Guy starts to pull into Fifth Street. Of course, he sees that it's blocked because it's Selby Building. Ray Charles would have seen that. So he backs out on the main street, turns and goes down the area by the railroad tracks. And I'm ticked because I saw him do it. Now I look at my rear view and half his car then is over into the railroad tracks. So we need to put some type of barrier up there to keep that from.
Well, and I had someone, well, people who work at home, who park in that parking lot say how many times people will pull in and see that's blocked and fly through the parking lot. You know, they've been almost hit because they're trying to park and people are flying through the parking lot to come around.
If you,
You know what I'm talking about?
no, I know, as far as beside the railroad restaurant,
Yeah, between the railroad restaurant
Yeah.
and
It's
the
like a
railroad
little-
tracks.
it's like where the old newsstand used to set it.
Yeah.
yeah.
There's a
So,
little lane back through there. this
and I
people-
apologize for not getting that done. The reason I haven't is that I can get done quick if you guys just want a cement and abutment block there.
Like that work.
Right.
I mean, it's not gonna be real aesthetic, but,
Paint
cause
it-
I was gonna
paint it
buy a
white.
bench or something like that and put there, but
I just put something there for now.
it's still on the radar. I just,
Okay.
but the railroad will actually set one there. Jeremy Hammond told me, well, I'll bring one up tomorrow, but then I don't know how good that's gonna look, but
Well,
for the
maybe
short
until, maybe
term,
until Fifth
right.
Street's
We can
reopened.
close-
Yeah,
we can
but
close
the
that
guy
down.
ended up halfway on the street and halfway on the railroad.
I'll
tracks.
get that
I was hoping
taken care of tomorrow.
Hey, can I tell you, since you're on Fifth Street, I was sitting on Main Street eating dinner Friday. And I know coming down Hickory, we removed the no left turn.
Mhm.
But in my hour and 20 minutes sitting there, I witnessed almost 3 accidents. Because when you're sitting there and turning left,
Can't see.
you can't see up the street because the cars are all parked
Gotta
in
be
front of
clear out in the
Thompson
road on
99.
those.
And I seriously witnessed almost 3 accidents in just that short amount of time sitting there Friday. So maybe once Fourth
Oh, we'll
Street
put
gets
it
back
back up.
open, I would probably really consider putting that
You
back up.
turn your head the other way.
You know, I happen to be.
You was
walking
talking about
that
something
way.
else,
When
Yeah,
Fifth Street
when people are
reopens, by
Coming
Selby
in
and
across the
Make
tracks
it
and it's
no left
blocked
turn.
right there on Walnut.
It's
People are
they
turning
didn't
on
have
Fifth
Fifth
Street.
Well,
I don't,
Walnut.
I don't know if then they
Walnut,
don't
Fourth.
realize that that is closed when they're going through that parking lot through Grace, wherever,
Mhm.
you know, right there.
All
flying through
through
there
the-
Because, yeah,
Back
people
open
people are
for
starting paying
today.
attention.
There's a chance it'll be back open.
They were driving through that Walnut
Yeah.
Street when it was
Walnut Street
barricaded.
Airport should be open Wednesday.
Oh, really?
Okay.
I was there today, checked
So they're
on
gonna
the
put the stanchions out into the street
Yeah,
then?
they're done. They've already got them finished up today. They put
Oh.
5-inch I-beams on the walls. They're short up out.
Right.
Okay.
So they're gonna move that.
They're gonna
one
move
big
They,
dumpster.
they hadn't told me that last I heard they was gonna put the
They
I-beams
were.
out into
They
the
couldn't
street.
Find those anywhere in the country. So they went with 5-inch I-beams, drove them down to the ground.
That's great. We'll get that opened up then.
Wednesday.
That'll solve a lot of these.
And they'll change it. They'll close it periodically for construction.
Right,
But for
okay.
now, they'll be, should solve a lot of those problems.
Yeah.
With Walnut Street back open.
Thank you.
I just got word today, the railroad wants to fix that crossing at Walnut Street. I said, right now, absolutely not. No,
What they ought
no.
to do is, because they're gonna have to put a crane on Walnut Street to set trusses, and eventually set trusses on the church. So if they work with the restoration company, there'll be a. time
Have it
where
all,
Walnut
have
Street
it
would have to
one
be
time,
closed
right?
again,
That's
too,
what I said.
and
If
they can
it's
hit it all
great.
at once.
Skip number 7. Does anybody else have anything with the ordinances or any other committees?
I just have a question about the camper ordinance. Where are we with the one on Spring Street?
On Spring Street is legal.
It's legal.
Tires are pumped up, it's got a current tag on, I ran the tag. The one down on South 10th Street is gone, the one on the empty lot on 12th Street is gone. That one sitting there is,
Did they tell you that the one on Spring was going to move at some point?
That's
or-
what
he
he
told
said.
me, he told me it was gonna move even after he had the tags and stuff on it, but that's
So-
totally him. I mean, at this point, we can't force him to move it.
So you,
All we can force him to do is cover it this winter. 3/4 or halfway down,
Can you
Jeff?
check with him again, just ask him if he's still gonna move it?
if I can see, so.
Jeff, you have any,
Talking like,
Jeff, you have any ordinances we need to look at other than the building permits?
not at this time.
Mark, do you
What's that?
have any ordinances that we need to look at?
Oh.
Any in particular?
No, I think we just, that permit is where we need to start, but I think the whole book, we probably
I
need to
agree.
look at.
And we've
you
talked
know,
about that,
yeah.
and we just, I know it's,
It's a
you
full,
don't have,
I mean.
I know
it's
you
a
guys don't have that
full-time
kind of
job,
time to sit
right.
down there and say, oh, let's do this one, let's do this one, so.
We'll give you a heads up. I know you're, as a council member, some of you are going to get contacted about golf carts.
But what?
Golf carts. And people wanting golf carts added to the side-by-side ordinance. So I'll just give you a heads up on that to all that over when it comes up. I think you're going to use.
Side by sides and stuff, ATVs, you know, not Pandora's box. Let's see here. Any council members have any other ordinances that we need to, that's come to your attention that we need to look at?
Are you looking for next council meeting?
Yeah, for the next council meeting.
We have an ordinance and I have a resolution
What we have,
to be on the agenda for next week. First is resolution, and Dave had kind of discovered this and brought it to our attention. We sell obsolete property,
oh, yeah.
scrap stuff
Mhm.
online on Gov Deals. So I found it's actually an ordinance or a resolution. It's just a resolution. So I found that and I have it scanned here for Amy, just scanned it in. So if that can be passed, I think Bobby said if the item is $1,000, we have to advertise it for field bid.
It sounds like something I'd say, but without having a problem.
When we talked on the phone, I think last week.
A lot of things, so.
You remember better.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. So it's just, I mean, Rusty has, I don't know, 10 or 11, 12 different items for me to post out there on
I don't know if
sale.
there's a dollar value. I think anything that was purchased with taxpayer money,
I think there is, I think we found there is a higher revised code. I think it's, I thought it's, yeah, I think it's specifically, I thought it was under $1,000. Do you remember, Dave?
My understanding it was anything under 1,000 could be disposed of at the discretion of the department. Over 1,000, it had to be advertised, or like gov deals meets that requirement. You just put it on gov deals for so long and that meets that requirement.
Yeah.
But I think the ordinance probably gives blanket authorization for all those items we put on the gov deals.
Yeah, it's just the service director, mayor, auditor is hereby authorized and direct to sell any and all personal property owned by the city, including motor vehicles acquired for the municipal officers, departments, road machinery, equipment, tools, or supplies which are not needed for public use or obsolete or unfit. And it's all pursuant to High Revised Code 721.15. But it's just for the calendar year, so it's supposed to be passed every year. And quite frankly, the last time we passed it was in 2014. So, but we haven't sold anything for several years online, so
What's your
it's
ordinance?
just a resolution. And then the ordinance is for the fire chief
Okay.
that we talked about. So I have that for Amy, and I don't know if you want to, you're welcome to speak about.
Tiffany would like on the agenda, the ordinance that authorizes the agreement between the city and
Argyle properties.
Argyle Main Street.
That's
Is
the
that
CRS.
ordinance that-
did we
is
get
that
the
updated now?
additions to that or the
We gotta do
addendum?
it.
I believe, yeah, I
I've
believe.
got everything here. Would you like it?
Send it to us.
One pager.
So we know what
I
we're
mean, there's a
doing.
lot,
Okay,
a lot of pages here.
let's do our best.
And I'd like it to probably next council to
figure it
send an ordinance authorizing the mayor and the service director to enter into a contract for like the water meter. That bid is due the 20th. I'd like to keep that moving. So on your next agenda, we'll know what that dollar amount is, because all the bids are due. We've had a dozen people ask for the bid packet, so we have some,
Bids on new water meters?
yes.
Do you want to go back to this ordinance?
Yeah.
That's-
Do you have anything else?
That's it, that's all.
Back to you, Max.
Well, it's a combined hour of Sharon and I, but this is when we signed the employment agreement with the Chief Dreer. It had a 6-month probationary clause in there that we was paying a probationary rate. And then once he passed his 6-month probationary period, he would go to $71,000. And then with the additional 2.25% increases like all the rest of non-bargaining has. So it's an ordinance to make that happen. And if we could get that passed on the 27th in 3 readings, be the first pay period be January 3rd.
Knock on wood on this.
Did I say July?
July.
I'm sorry.
Kaylee's going to Zoom in. And provided nobody gets sick or anything,
Right.
we'll only have 6 people.
Well, we could retro, I mean,
You know,
we
it's,
can be
I'm
retroactive.
just giving everyone a heads up, it'll be,
Yeah,
we'll do it.
yeah.
So provided nobody,
Like I say, it could be retroactive
Yeah.
if
okay.
we don't, so.
Okay.
I can buy him a box of cereal if he
I'll
needs.
send you this. But I saw a couple typos in there.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, we'll get it right.
I had another
And,
page ordinance, so I-
council, if anybody is, something comes up
I'll email it to you.
and you're not going to be able to be here in person, just email me, maybe hopefully could Zoom in or something. Let's get through this
I do have a resolution that needs just a little bit of clarification for the next
for
year.
next one. What's
That's
your
all right.
resolution?
So this would be for, we have an opportunity to get up to $39,267 with another Nature Works grant. To the state of Ohio. I've got a mega helping with it. Has to be in by the middle of July. This resolution though would be where the city desires financial assistance of the Nature Works grant program. And what would be for up at the finished Hall Park up, it'd be for a handicap swing. It'd be for, I don't know what you call the thing that the kids play on all the time at Bancroft. It's got the ropes. Used to be like a merry-go-round, we called it, but I'm sure they're safer merry-go-round now. And then putting in a colored rubber under all the swings and sliding boards and around these pieces of equipment as well, which solves a couple.
I know that's the same
Stones.
grant that the park is applying for to replace the concession and press box
Yeah.
at Lake Park.
Good luck.
Yeah.
But you're not applying for is the city, right?
No, Park District.
Yeah.
So
Is it the
I think
same
there's
cost?
more, that's what,
it's the same Nature Works grant, 'cause I know there's,
is there more money available than that?
that's for the county.
Oh, that's per county. Well,
That happens often.
It doesn't happen very often on
With
that
a
grant,
lot
because
of
usually no
stuff.
one applies for it.
right.
Mhm.
I guess that's a no vote on Roger's part then.
That would be it.
There's gotta be more money than that for the county. So that that
That's
dollar amount.
39,000 is for Coshocton County.
Okay,
At least that's what I was told at the park meeting, and I'm pretty sure it's accurate.
Probably like 7.
Now, there's some counties that may not apply
Six.
for it, and that money could roll, I think, to other counties.
Sherry wants one to do what, 6?
Yeah.
so Roger says vote yes.
Sorry, I didn't know. I mean,
Well, you wouldn't.
Mayor, can you give us an update on the safe trails that we were talking about?
Oh, so SPP met with the commissioner of the Ohio Rail Commission. and basically got nowhere with that, so just driving me to work harder on that project. So that's kind of where we're at. We're completely stalled, and unless they'll grant Genesee, Wyoming a lifetime or a huge yearly amount on the rails that they use now, I don't look for us to get that, but it's just a challenge, and I love challenges. So
Okay.
we are.
Do we have any other options for different?
So I think what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go out and take some pictures of all the covered rail crossings, just condition. I see where the railroad's at, but I also see if the rail commission will allow them, grant them in perpetuity access to the other set of tracks, there's no issue. So it's kind of getting the rail commission to do something. And I mean, SPP talked to the director, so it's not like they just talked to some guy, you know, delivering the mail there, like they talked to. So it's just working. I think we're gonna take another angle of here. I think pictures are gonna help, and here's what it is, and you know, here's how it's gonna, you know, directly benefit the whole community. So
Yeah, because when they first brought it up, it sounded like, oh man, it's gonna be dead, and then
right,
seems like there's still hope for it.
right. It's just keeping the conversation going.
Okay. Go ahead, you got the floor
All right.
with your report.
You know, crazy weekend of events. We had balloon races, a pride event, Corvettes and Roscoe, Redskin football alumni golf outing. It was a pretty busy weekend for the community. I think it was great seeing people from in town, from out of town. I did meet a couple weeks ago with the OWDA director about forgiving a $5 million loan that we had. And really right now we're kind of waiting. They're going to meet, their board's going to meet at the end of June. And the idea was tossed around of possibly putting 2 million of interest that we have paid against the principal, leaving about 3 million left. So that's not for sure yet. Once that happens, hopefully it does, we have about 3 million left, and I'll probably go to the governor's office and work through that. So we're kind of waiting on the 2 million first, and then I'm going to go after the 3 million. Big project that was just announced last week is the governor's Ohio Builds program. It's 500 million to 32 Appalachian counties. We have formed a subcommittee kind of with the port, with our town, a council member and my administration to work together on how we get the most funding out of that 500 million funding package. So we will meet sometime. I think there are 3 dates that we had that we're going to meet, get together and kind of say, here's what we want. And here's the direction we need to go, and try to get as much of that free money as possible. Health department merger is ongoing. Just sent out a final draft of the agreement to a board member of the county health. Last week I attended the Ohio Mayor's Conference, and I learned that every community has the same exact issues. And I invite any resident that don't want to live good in Coshocton to go somewhere else so they can have your problems.
Who's the, sorry to interrupt you, but who's the council member? Work with
I think Tom Barcroft's
Okay.
gonna work. I think that's who was on the email.
Yep.
It was Tom, so one or the other. If you're not, then it was definitely Tom Barcroft. Last week, the Selby building was featured on Spectrum News with me and Lanny. Had a story about, you know, just the building itself and funding, and you know, we're just trying to keep that top of mind awareness so we can work on more funding for that. Permits we talked about, rails to trails kind of stalled at this point, and I will answer any questions if anyone has any. Roger, you don't have questions?
I'm thinking, but you answered them all.
Nobody?
I got,
I go?
I got some questions, driving around in Mayor's neighborhood, in my neighborhood. The novelty advertising building, what's the status on
It
that
is,
building?
it is sold to someone in Newark.
You didn't tell me who was sold.
I believe
I
they're
made
in Newark
contact today with someone about mowing.
mowing around.
That's what I was going-
Yeah.
They go all the way down,
Yeah.
go all the way down 12th Street toward,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
toward East
Kyle
Main.
told me it had been sold and he was gonna contact the purchaser and tell them that.
They're gonna clean up all the pallets there or clean that up a little bit. It looks really, really bad.
Yeah, it does.
We've
There's an
been,
abandoned car in there also, a van.
Yeah.
Well, that-
Little car.
At one point in time, that man was in litigation, but I guess he's settled now since it's sold. And so whoever it is, as soon as I get hold of them, I'll get that out there.
we're working with the owners of, the new owners of the Edmont property as well on putting fencing up and securing that and mowing.
Okay.
Had a very.
Yeah, because you
nice-
got a couple, 3 blocks there, it's just like,
Right.
looks like downtown.
Right. Beirut.
Michigan.
Oh, Albert.
Yeah, that's what needs to be done.
That's what I had. I was just really shocked when I seen it all, the way it was.
Actually, that was my today's project with Jeff. That was like first thing I told him was, hey.
Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah. What about the house on the Bank Street, Jeff?
I have a couple more.
That's on Bank Street, filed charges on.
I wasn't done.
It was 933 Vine Street, charges were filed on that one. So I'll work on Bank Street next, try to get those back together.
Okay.
Get it worked.
The one on the corner.
You think it would be better if we publicize the people who,
Yeah, own them.
and say, here's
I
what,
was gonna say, he was out there.
But it's back up to
All right,
3 feet tall again.
all right, let's go. I think we have to go back to ordinances. Max and Sherry are over here.
No, no.
Powwow.
You know, if you want to hold mine or if I'm
said who
falling
else
down, if
had
I'm
Okay.
down here. so
Want me to
wait
go
for my
first or you wanna
turn.
go first?
Oh, no, I'll just have, I emailed you about the Berker and Eckler. So, I'm gonna have to have transfers. I know Thomas reached out to, Tiffany Swigert at the Port Authority. But in the meantime, we have this bill that, is technically in our need to do, so Council Incidentals doesn't have enough, so my only thing is to, do a transfer from one line item to the next, so I'll have that for you next week. And if Rusty and I get together before, 2 weeks, we might be structuring some of his line items a little differently, specifically breaking out vehicle gasoline. Right now, it's kind of lumped in with maintenance, so he'd like to track that a little separately. So might come up with a transfer, so like Jerry there, didn't I? Transfer. Or maybe an additional appropriation for him, just so we can do that. And I'll work on getting the other stuff that's already been paid under that maintenance, so we can track everything under one account number for him on that. But I'll have that. I'll get that information for Amy, but
Can I ask what the Berker and Eckler bill was for?
it is the.
It was when they did the JED and the annexation.
the,
Tiffany approached me and asked me if I would be interested in doing it. I never thought about asking who was going to pay. It was brought to me to ask if I was interested.
A very, very small portion of it, a half hour, so like $200 is a water issue that Dave had, Warsaw Water,
Call.
so, but the bill is $4,157.
Those programs were what, 30 minutes, maybe 45 at the most, so there's an hour and a half. I didn't understand the amount of the bill itself, and then I guess I assumed that the Port Authority was paying for that since they're the ones that want to know if we wanted information on.
Well, and I remember I said to Tom, and I'll say it because I'm sure you can probably hear it. If you go back to a meeting, Tiffany stated afterwards, just remember next time there's grant money for this kind of stuff. So that's what I remember hearing. So I kind of took it as this one's on you, but next time come to me and
We were charging
arrange.
$400 per hour.
Yeah,
It was packed time. I just wanted to make sure that we wouldn't be in charge for the preparation of that ordinance that is gonna be on the book the next time.
CRA.
Right, yeah, that CRI,
I think just from here on out, you gotta.
because you told me
be
we
clear
were,
on
right?
I've got all that here.
We
on
did.
Who's paying
You
for
had to
what.
pay $1,000.
Well, I mean, so the city's being asked to pass ordinances to give property owners breaks, and then we have to pay the legal fees to prepare the document. That to me should be a,
Should have been run through you.
well, I'm not sure if that a little more complicated than I could handle, but the Port Authority is the one that, guess that's your guys' call.
That's what's thinking, right?
I guess that's another one that, and I think we, obviously, I agree with giving the business owner a break, but that's something that she brought to us. Port Authority brought that to us. So I don't know why we got stuck with $1,000 legal bill. And that doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, you got stuck with $1,000 legal bill and it wasn't even ready.
Is that a separate bill that's gonna be coming in?
There's PO. I've done a PO.
Okay, you got a PO on that. one.
So,
It still has a bunch of blanks.
right, it's not even prepared correct. That's the one with, she
Yeah.
gave a presentation and just wanted it passed.
Yeah, I don't, like I say, I have this, I don't know who you want to sign that to review. It's got the sign sheets, it's got the maps, it's got all that stuff in there.
Everything we didn't have.
40-page one.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think there's quite 40 there. I mean, there's a bunch.
all the blanks are filled in.
The signature pages obviously aren't, some of them are signed off by whoever the
See, it's got blanks on it.
head of that stuff is.
So are you
My
okay
bailiwick.
with me transferring, and council incidentals to get this taken care of? And if you hear from Tiffany, if they're willing to, share in part, they can just reimburse. And then, in the meantime.
I'm not in
work on the
favor.
other stuff with-
I don't have a vote, but I'm not in favor of paying $1,000.
But that's a separate matter
I
from
know.
this.
Right.
Is it 43? All copy front and back. Okay.
Yeah, I guess you ought to
I
pay.
knew there was a lot.
But is she gonna send me this in?
Oh, yeah.
Because there's some blanks and
There's
things
a
that need
lots
to
of
be,
blanks in here.
that need to
Right,
be
that,
filled
that
in.
ordinance references the old resolution, not the one that we're passing tonight. So it'll need to be changed to reference the new resolution that we're passing tonight, and I told Tiffany that.
So she wants
Was
We
that,
have to do it one step at a time.
is that not the new one then?
This.
She dropped that off to me
ordinance
last
references the
week.
Increase to $25,000 and 15 years instead of the 10 that she
Right,
wanted.
yeah.
Which is in the new resolution that we're gonna pass tonight.
Okay.
That references the old resolution, which is still stuck at the 2,500 and 10 year.
Tiffany called me the next day and I told her that on these ordinances and resolutions that she needs to contact Amy so Amy can run the stuff through Bob to make sure that we're doing it correctly. So you don't end up paying, or we don't end up having to pay $1,000 fee that nothing was done. And she said that you didn't get this. She was supposed to send this to
I have
Amy,
the first one she gave me when she was here the first night.
right?
I think this is the exact
It's-
same
I think
document.
it's the
It's
same
just
thing.
signed by
Yeah,
Liz
it's
Arda.
just signed by,
Yeah.
and it's signed by the school.
Right. So we'll just have
They
to.
signed a document that references the law.
Right,
This is the original.
okay. So. Yeah. I have to shoot her an email, and tell her what she needs to do. Anything else?
Yeah, I would like, Counselor entertain a ordinance for the next time on, I don't know how it's titled, other than operator bonus. Right now, we give all of our operators bonuses based on classification once a year. Our two superintendents and our superintendent of distribution are not part of that bonus payment, even though their licenses are the ones that we're relying on to be the operator of record with the EPA. So I think it's probably only fair that since they're the ones that went and passed all the tests and are doing all the paperwork to keep us out of hock, or
Are they part of the bargaining unit?
they're non-bargaining. So I would suggest, rather than rewriting the personnel manual, which would require all 96 or how many employees we have to sign off on, is just pass a standalone ordinance granting that bonus to, I don't know if you want to do it by position or by person.
I would do it by position
I
in
think
case
so.
they change,
Change.
and then we can just copy it, what those
Yeah,
positions
it'll be the
are.
water superintendent, the wastewater superintendent, and the distribution supervisor.
And the amounts are in the union contract. It would be the same as
It's
what's
same as-
already.
Correct.
Mhm.
1,200 for the water and sewer and 300 for distribution.
Question, Sharon. If you're gonna, at the next meeting, redo the pay benefit ordinance for fire chief, can we put it all in the same ordinance?
I would prefer to keep it separate.
You, okay.
I'd rather have the pay ordinance separate, because we
300
keep that in a separate
300 for
binder. and
the
I'd rather have it
distribution.
separate.
All those require operator record. Sure.
And this would be every year annually also.
Yes.
Because this fire, Dave, the fire chief one, it's just for 20, up
Right,
to
okay, I understand. I
23.
didn't know if
And
it's-
then he'll just jump right back on to the whole non-bargaining one for starting 24.
And then one other thing I wanted to just inform council of, we have a meeting with our local AMLR rep. That's AMLER, and that stands for Abandoned Mine Land Economic Revitalization. It's a new program. There's millions of dollars out there to get. And we're meeting Wednesday at 10 a.m. if anybody's interested. We'll be showing him areas of interest. And just off the top of my head, I'm thinking of Adams Street, Walnut Street, where the mine water runs all the time. Kensington Road area, Buena Vista, where you have the Orange Creek that is eroding properties all the way to Kids America. And how do we fix, the backs of those properties with very limited funds? The water that runs out in Buena Vista that affects your house at the end of the day, but it's worse at Jeff Niger and Scott Matz, Keith Matz, sorry. So we'll be showing him them areas
Are you
and
gonna utilize SPP in this?
I'm utilizing Omega in it. I don't know where SPP would
They could possibly help
get us
out.
more money. Let's see what comes out of the Friday meeting. The gentleman I'm meeting with, his name is Jay Bennett, who some of you may know. He was Zanesville, I believe, actually service director one time there. So he's retired, and the governor's asked him to come back and head up our area for this AMLR funds. So there could be some monies there available to us.
Well,
to make some-
Roger call him. Yeah.
That's a Jay Bennett I knew.
It is.
Nice guy. I'm looking forward to the meeting Wednesday, so. And that's all I have, unless you guys have
I had
questions.
one thing for Max. Again, Tom and I talked about this, and I know we brought it up before, but we need to lean on Columbia Gas to get the sidewalks fixed that they have torn the heck out of.
That, they were fixing them the other day. They got the one on Main Street.
Okay, how about the one
And the
in,
roads.
the one in White Woman?
Don't know about the one on White.
I know it wasn't fixed today, so
Well, it's not fixed then.
can you reach out to them?
Sure.
and-
I know
It's all
Kevin
right.
Shire has had conversations because the roads are turning into the same thing as the sidewalks are digging up, so.
I know some communities have written, I know we passed something that doing with our streets, but they require Columbia Gas to replace the area they've torn up, and they give them specs that they have to
We've done
follow.
that.
So
You guys passed that.
that's what I thought
Road
about a year
repair.
ago, or
Yeah.
I think it's just something else we need to follow up on and enforce it.
In fact, Dave's distribution guys have been repairing water holes to that spec to bring it up to grade with LSM, which has made a nice job. And then we'll come back and we'll get hot mix and we're top of it. So,
Thanks.
Max, you have anything else you wanna Any other report?
I think that's all I got. So, I mean, there's not a lot out of the ordinary other than that kind of stuff, so.
Chad, you have anything?
No, concert coming up the 25th. Ready for it. Then after that, we have the Fleetwood Mac concert. And then June 19th, I will be able to announce the third concert. So,
Father's Day.
yeah, so maybe I'll put something on the radio that day or something, so stay tuned. And I have my own Facebook page now too, so it'll be on there. So, yeah,
What's the name of the Facebook page?
Chad Johnson, City Councilman.
All complaints. to
Oh,
Chad
okay.
Johnson.
So it's not just for the summer's concert.
Well, yeah, that's where I have everything listed
Okay.
on there,
Okay.
and there's a drop down for Double Vision. You can click on it, you can listen to them. And then I'll update it as it needs updated, so.
Awesome.
Sound like Lou Graham or not?
I don't-
You'd
Double
have to be
Vision's-
older to know that.
Yeah, Double Vision sounds good though. I think everybody's gonna be pleased, and I think we're gonna have a good turnout, and so I did meet with the guy from the stage. He was at the Hot Air Balloon Festival. So I brought him downtown Friday, showed him where we wanted the stage, showed him the new electric that the commissioners put in for us. And he was pretty pumped about it, and he said, what a beautiful place we had. So I think it ought to turn out good. And I want to thank Mike Gross. He made all the signs that you're seeing around town. And so hopefully we'll get people involved and get people downtown.
That was a good collaboration effort between the county and us. They used some of their funds to the
Yes.
tune of almost $40,000 or more
Yes, really
to run
appreciate it.
power from the north side of the courthouse all the way out to Main Street on the north side of the box. And we participated by taking up the sidewalks needed where we done the underground. And then we come back and report these slabs of sidewalk in with Public Works. So that was a good effort. on
Yep, the
everybody's
commissioners
part.
kind of saved the day there, we didn't know where we were gonna get power, and I really didn't want to use a generator at the end of the day, because, those things can fail. So, yeah, the power was awesome, and, yeah, I appreciate everything they did for
That's
us.
great.
So, yeah, we're good to go. We get to use the new bathroom.
It's maiden voyage.
Yeah.
It's gonna announce that at the next meeting.
Is our town gonna clean that back up
I
afterwards?
don't know.
Chad is.
I'll do it, I guess.
I think that'd be a good job for Lanny though.
Anybody else have anything? Yeah, we have a public hearing in about 10 minutes max.
Speaking of public hearing, sorry, on 6/27 on the agenda, could we schedule a public hearing for that Nature Works grant? I sure can. Yep.
Okay. We'll meet in council in about 10 minutes.
This is the public. Go for 12. I think that's what these are.
That's what they look like. It's like a journey.
He said, I know there's another girl mom or something. And I said, you know, I said, if we had a band or a stage, it's like, I said, like I said, he would kind of.
She's a good. She's on the road.
I do those in house on.
They might have watched Karen.
Yeah, good jam.
He didn't want to go there. She had it as part. She should have. She's still calling, but I don't see her. That one. Is he?
Yeah.
She used to have one. We have a Revitalization county. We're interested in to Muskegon
I
County.
wish this
At least one of them has talked to me. She comes in jail. The teacher.
You done anything?
One of the two. If we're gonna wait all the taxes start money here. If you do this.
I think.
They've got a phone out, make it so no. That's right, I got my phone out. Actually, it says email. See the light.
Thursday.
Saturday night.
We gotta take the, Chestnut Hill or the county school state. We'll still have the domestic runner, keep pressure on with them. About 2 hours. And it would also say next Monday, hours to fix the hydrant on the boathouse. Trying to get one of the ground.
Yeah, what, just so I'm clear on that, I knew that we had one time a trip that it should automatically fire up as soon as it requires pressure. Once it sees it's not getting the right pressure. Right. But if it doesn't fire, you can't even win a manual fire. Right. Okay. It's happened one time, I know that we went over just to look at it.
I've actually got, a control panel upgrade being built right now, and then we're actually gonna make a transfer switch in for the power, so I can get the plug over and feed it off the power. Right. So I'm looking at trying to get the in, we're still 3-4 months out, so I want to get access and all that. But, you know, AP's on board, Jones on board. And some of the relays are obsolete. We can't find them.
I was only in it once.
That's what she.
This was 21st count. Yeah, 21st count, that's correct.
Yeah, whoever designed that.
Yeah.
The only way to change that. Literally, the only way to get to that is take the program.
It's electric home.
It's an electric power. And even the standard little 5-horse booster pumps, I can't get to. There's not enough room. So we control outside, we get little rack system. And over the years, why don't work or there's the bladder on the expansion tank that blows, so we have a tank here. Get everything from, by the end of the year, it should be back to 100% operational. Fire pump, that goes for a 6-inch. I forgot, maybe it's a couple hundred, I don't know, 500-600 gallon a year. Now, the little control pumps only 40 gallon. But if you got it. I think that's all you're gonna get. But that's better than 40.
It's better than 40, it could always be worse.
Yeah.
It could always be worse, and we've been through more Northeast Street, we talked about that thing being on.
So I should have that problem.
I saw him twice now. One time they were just running in the road.
I take that back. I have seen one rip half. Up the top of it, right outside. Yeah. It was afraid, it was right on the edge of. Wooded.
It's already been moved.
And they're still mad because they cleaned all around. Around that, so around them, you can pick it
Familiar.
Neither one of them has it.
She gave us, but we gave her more. We. That was irritating. Yeah, my big boys. You get a big help. We can flee into her or.
Oh, yeah.
Every 3 months. Easy. Or no, it was 19.
Start next week. Both your two bedrooms. Jerry has the issue of prescription.
Yeah. And I still have just one more. Friday.
I buy 2 at a time.
Well, some gastrointestinal special.
My boys, they slow down.
Oh, okay.
I was treated. Travel, Detroit or Shelburne, he buys travel every
They have some issues.
twice a week. He can travel, you know, like.
$8 a ring.
I told the guy, director was
Were you planning on finding these people?
stealing from you.
Enticing benefits for them to make it.
They can have 24/7 coverage. Do that in all their possible. Now, the only good thing is, they do actually their mental health. So if they get somebody in there, and they'll transfer them down Zoom, they don't have to deal with that. Which. We're gonna bring some of that on. They pay special detail.
Okay, we'll end our public hearing for the 2023 budget for the city of Coshocton. Our council meeting to order. It's Monday, June 13th, 2022 at 7 p.m. Regularly scheduled Coshocton City Council meeting. Clerk, please call the roll.
Andrews. Here. Gross.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Moore.
Here.
Turner.
Here.
Need a motion to excuse Glenn Mishler and Tom Barcrow.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
We stand for the pledge and remain standing for the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Remain standing for invocation. Father God, we thank you again for this meeting tonight. Lord, we would just lift Glenn Mishler to you right now. We pray, Lord, that you be with him and comfort him and give him a speedy recovery as he's there in the hospital recovering. And Lord, again, we just pray that you be with him, be with his family and fight, Lord, as they stand with him. Pray for all of us tonight, Lord, as we do the city business. I pray this in your name.
Amen. Council, your email the minutes for the May 23rd council meeting. Any questions or comments? Need a motion to accept the May 23rd minutes. Andrews, second. Johnson. Call the roll, please.
Andrews. Yes. Gross.
Yes.
Johnson. Moore.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Public input. We have any public input? Buddy? Come forward. At the podium, state your name and your address, please.
Okay. Oh, yeah, yeah, that's off the skinny. I can't make it through there. I'm Krista Satola. Some of you know me. I have a small home repair business that I run in Coshocton. I don't live in Coshocton. I own a property here on South Lawn Avenue that I rehabilitated from, pretty primitive state. It was built in 1920 and it was kind of left there. I've had a lot of questions from people about, I guess it was on Facebook, about the getting permits to do certain things.
And I mean, I understand that that ordinance has been in place for quite some time, but it hasn't been enforced. So people are upset. I'm a little bit upset because, some of the improvements that you want to make, I mean, I want to put new windows in my house. I'm never going to get that money back. Okay, I'm never going to see that again. I want to do it to improve the property. And I think a lot of people feel the same way. If they have to replace the toilet, sometimes you have to do things, they go bad, and you don't have time to go out and get a permit. So I don't know, is there a way to maybe amend that ordinance?
Yeah, you're about an hour and a half too late.
Yeah.
We talked about this at our committee meeting. I'm not making fun. but,
Okay, that's fine, everybody else does. You might as well.
We know that there needs to be some revisions and there are some things that need to be amended in that ordinance, and we didn't have it tonight, so we weren't able to discuss it tonight, but our next meeting, we are going to have it. And a lot of us are in agreement with some of the things that you said.
Great.
But as far as never getting your money back out of your house, if you ever sold it, you would.
Well,
So
yeah,
houses, property
figure
values go
windows,
up.
I'm a contractor, I can tell you, you very rarely ever get money back on windows.
So-
But, the thing is, the inflation, everything, you want people to keep their properties nice.
Yeah.
They're putting one more impediment in the way. It's
Well,
just,
we're going to look at it
Okay.
and like we did it at the committee, we talked about it at the committee, and we're
Great.
going to discuss it at June 27th, okay?
okay, is that public or no? Is that?
Committee meetings, yes.
Okay,
Yep.
great, so June 27th.
5:30.
5:30,
Yep.
okay.
More than welcome.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you.
Can you spell your last name?
Oh, yes, CIOTOLA.
And your address?
30678 Newcastle Road, and it's Wall Hunding. I've had a business, I've been here since, let's see, 2011. And I really got going in 2012, but I mean, I enjoy working in Coshocton. I like it. I like helping people. I have a lot of people that can't always afford stuff, and I try to help them get stuff done.
Sure.
And, I mean, building permit, it's just kind of like, well, it shouldn't just be for building something,
Well,
Anyway,
Yeah, we'll look at it.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm gonna head out. I just wanted to do that and.
Come forward, please.
Thank you.
Hi, you don't know me, my name's Rich Pika. I live at 588 South 12th Street, Coshocton, Ohio. I own the two lots that are on the corner of 12th and Cambridge Road, right across from, I guess it's the new Papa John's there. Okay, recently I moved a 24 by 30 building onto that lot. It's not I say building, it's not a building, it's a storage. It is on skids. It's not attached to the lot. And I guess under the old rules, I guess, that them type of buildings, you didn't need permits. My understanding is now you do. I'm not sure about that, but Bob, Mr. Skelton brought it to my attention that you people have requested that I tear that building down.
You can't have a freestanding, I don't think any one of them did. I believe it was me. You can't have a garage on a standalone property, and that has been the law for a lot of years. So did you seek out a permit before you did any work on that property?
Well, Mayor, this is kind of what I was getting at here.
I asked you a question. Did you seek out permitting for that?
I didn't think, because it was on skids, it's not attached to the ground. It was under my understanding that you didn't need a permit. I've had a building there for the last 10.
So let me get it straight. You're asking for forgiveness instead of permission.
Well, out of my stupidity, I guess. Yeah.
Right. So
I've had a building there for the last 10 years like that.
Can I ask, are you referring to the building that you have that's for sale?
No, I moved that building out.
Okay, and you put another one in its place, okay.
Yeah.
All right, now
And
I
the
know.
other building is the same type building. It's been there for 10 years. And nothing has ever been said. And now,
Yeah, you can't have a standalone garage, whether it's brought in, whether it's prefab, whether it's built on, you can't have a standalone garage on a property unless it's inhabitable. That's a law, so.
okay,
It has to be contiguous with your other lot. And there's an alley. Problem with Rich's garage is there's an alley that runs between its two lots. So it's not contiguous.
okay, then, I
This
guess-
is it's kind of ironic that this comes up during like the posting of make sure you get a permit, because things like this have happened in our community for years, and that's what we're trying to prevent here. So kind of what you did is kind of what we're trying to prevent, because it's not a do anything you want to do system. It's a, here's what I want to do. Am I allowed to do it? And it would have been a lot easier. The process works a lot easier if you just come in and say, hey, here's what I want to do, instead of, well, here's what I did, but I thought I could do it.
Mr. Pico, did any council members say that they wanted it tore down, or was that you?
That was I told it, if it's on a skid it out of there, it can be taken out of there as easy, it can be brought in there.
Well, it's not that easy. That's a $40,000 bill. So am I under the understanding that if it had living quarters, which would be a restroom, a kitchen, a bedroom, it would be legal?
If it's livable, it's legal.
Or if I was to put a modular home on that lot?
I'm not, I mean, we're getting in the weeds of law. Bob, can you put a modular home on that lot?
I'd have to look at this.
As long as it's not titled, it has to be deeded and it has to be on a foundation.
Yeah, I understand that. So if I put
Size
a.
restriction on it.
Size restriction too, yeah,
Right.
it had to come into place, but
You have to meet the setback laws as well.
exactly.
So I'd have to hook up the city sewer and water and all that. whatnot if I put- if I-
Yeah, it just would have to have a living quarters and bathroom.
Yeah, I kind of went through this in Florida, but it just so happened that the two lots were adjacent to each other, so it
Right.
wasn't.
The alley's what's.
No, but hey-
Because I would, when I first heard about it, I said, well, just have to combine the lots. Just make it
Well, I can't because.
close the alley.
right, because
And
the alley.
they're like, well, he's got an alley. I said,
Yeah, and okay, I understand.
Okay, so here's what I suggest. Come in and meet with Max and the mayor and figure out what we gotta do. I understand, where you're coming from. And then you guys can figure out the logistics as far as what you need to do to make it livable, to keep it there.
Okay,
Okay,
And once again, it's not that I don't want new stuff on lots.
right.
You
I
know,
understand what
if
you're
he
saying.
Does it then up the street, they say, well, he did it, then I'm gonna do it. And
Right.
that's kind of what we're trying to get away from.
I'm not here to cause trouble.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I don't think you are either.
I'm not, yeah.
Mr. Moore, Councilman Moore has something.
Rich, is there a room on your current property for that building?
Oh, no.
I know you have that big garage. I think that's what Bob said. Had that been on his regular property, that would have been an issue, correct?
If that new garage that he put up, or storage building, whatever you want to call it, would have been on the lot with his residence.
Right.
Then it's fine.
So why was there not a problem for the last 10 years with the building that was on there?
I wasn't mayor the last 10 years.
Well,
Did you get a-
hasn't called.
Did you get a permit for that building when you put it on there?
No,
I
it's been
think,
there for 10 years. I mean, and now all of a sudden, see, that was the whole thing with me. It is on skids. It's been there for 10 years, I thought. And, so I either gotta put a modular home on there or,
Put a bathroom in it. I don't know if that meets setbacks the way it sits. I have no idea.
It's too close to the property line where it's sitting. Could be a setback of 10 feet off the property line. But that'd be just slide it out away from the property line. Between you and where Blackson's are, you have to have from your property line, they have setbacks. You have to-
9 feet,
I think it's either 6 or 10 feet. I'd have to.
And we'll look at, just like President Hilgenberg said, just come and meet with us and we'll figure something out.
So I think what we're trying to do right now, Mr. Peak, is just trying to, you guys are doing the logistics of the thing so you can make it, so you can keep it.
Yeah.
So if you schedule a meeting with these guys and come in and get the logistics worked out, so you know exactly what you need to do. That's,
okay, that'd be fine.
okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Mayor's report?
Actually, I have nothing other than, a big thank you of what went on over the weekend in our community and all the people and volunteers, people from in town and out of town who showed up to support everything going on. It's great to see great things going on around our community. Wanted to also give you guys an update. We're having a captain's test June 21st at the fire department. I don't know, will it be here, the interview process, or where's the test going to be at the firehouse?
Probably both of them will be the interview
Okay.
process and the written test will be in the basement
All right.
of the fire station, so. Classroom.
And as well, with that said, Senator Brenner, who replaces Senator Hottinger, term limited in the Ohio Senate. Senator Brenner will be here June 27th, and if any of you guys want to be involved in that visit, that's fine. Send me an email, we'll include you, as well as State Representative Kick will be here June 16th, next week, and he replaces Representative Kevin Miller.
That Andrew Brenner?
It is Andrew Brenner, yes. So just getting some changes with the whole redistricting map, and hopefully we have as much cooperation with these people as we did with the other people. So you look hopeful, Roger. That's all I have. If anyone has any questions, I will.
Council, you're also emailed the mayor's report for May of 2022 as the general fund and the building permit summary. You guys all got those in your email. Any questions for the mayor? Safety Director, Max, you have anything?
Don't really have anything beyond what we spoke of in committee. I will say, got a chance to walk around and talk to a lot of out-of-town people before that show, and had numerous compliments about how good the new railroad ties look around along the curve. There's some guy, back in against that. So just give a shout out to our public works department for, we're not normally into redoing, renovating old canal towns, but I think the guys done a good job for, and once you get the pavement and new striping there, it's really gonna look good. If you have any questions?
Buddy? Council, you emailed the law director's report for the month of May. Any questions for Mr. Skelton? You have anything?
I have nothing.
Thank you. Auditor's report, Sherry,
Yes, I emailed you
your email.
Yeah.
Anything
And
to add?
I noticed on the one agenda, it said the cash statement April 29th, but it's May 31st, so as long as Amy has that captured correctly in the minutes, that'd be great. If there's any questions, I can answer. If not, just need to be approved in the minutes, please.
It was May 29th,
The May 31st.
May 31st.
Statement of cash.
This one. Okay. Need a motion to accept the auditor's report? So moved. Johnson.
Second.
Moore. Call the roll, please.
Andrews?
Yes.
Gross?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Turner?
Yes.
Sheriff's report, Sheriff Crawford, do you have anything for us?
No, sir.
Your email is his report, calls in the city, and call count, code enforcement, and the map. Always check those places on the map, make sure you're safe. So
You're not, Tom. Any numbers out of the checkpoint on the 3rd? I was on vacation. I wanted to be there.
We had a lot go through.
No rest.
So
everyone was good that night.
Everyone was
We're
good.
proud of our people that night. Good work, Coshocton.
Chief Dreher, you have anything from the fire department?
Just, I was at Grace Church today, and there is a chance that Walnut Street and Fourth Street will be open back up on Wednesday. They're planning on moving the dumpsters. The walls have been secured. The only thing that will remain closed was most likely the parking spots on Fourth Street. And then they will close again periodically for hopefully construction. Be patient. We appreciate everybody's patience there. It's been a mess.
Just if people take the proper detours, will be okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Think we have anybody else have anything? We'll go into legislation. Everything will just be the first reading tonight. The first reading, I'll ask the clerk to give the first reading of ordinance 1922.
An ordinance approving the addition and inclusion of certain ordinance as parts of the various component codes of the codified ordinances of Coshocton, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Heard the first reading of 1922. Any questions or comments? Ordinance will take its course. I'll ask the clerk to give the first reading of ordinance 2022.
An ordinance adopting the budget of the city of Coshocton, Ohio for the fiscal year beginning January 2023 and submitting same to the county auditor.
For the first reading of ordinance 2022, any questions or comments? Ordinance will take its course. I'll ask the clerk to give the first reading of ordinance 2122.
Appropriation.
For the first reading of ordinance 2122, any questions or comments? Ordinance will take its course. I'll ask the clerk to give the first reading of ordinance 2222.
Transfer.
For the first reading of ordinance 2222, questions or comments? Ordinance 2222 will take its course. I'll ask the clerk to give the first reading of ordinance 2322.
An ordinance to amend the city of Coshocton codified ordinance chapter 1333.
For the first reading of ordinance 2322, any questions or comments? Ordinance 2322 will take its course. There's no legislation at the second or third reading. Go to resolutions. Clerk, please give the reading for resolution 522.
A resolution to create and designate a portion of the city of Coshocton as a community reinvestment area in order to encourage economic development.
The question is, should ordinance 522 be adopted? Clerk, please call the roll.
Andrews. Yes. Gross.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Turner. Yes.
Resolution 522 is adopted. Any old business? New business?
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to the commissioners for supplying us with the electric down on the court square. Just remind everybody that we have our first concert coming up on the 25th, Double Vision. Everybody come on out. We're gonna have a great time. That starts at 6:30. So.
Anybody else? Good luck with that, Chad.
Yeah.
I do want to add another good thing. I'd like to the city rec with the baseball fields, softball fields, getting those ready, keeping the parks cleaned up. I know Jimmy McCall and Stick and those guys worked really hard. I think it's another one of those jobs where, you know, everybody wants something done better. They only have so much time, but they're doing a good job and the parks are clean. They're doing a good job with that, keeping them mowed. So I appreciate that. Clerk, do we have any other communications?
No.
When's the next date and time of our next meeting?
June 27th.
Committee meeting to begin at 5:30. Need a motion for the meeting to be adjourned. Johnson? Clerk, please call the roll.
Andrews. Yes. Gross.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Turner. Yes.
Meeting's adjourned.